How many rosemary plants have you killed? Be honest, put the number down below. I read every single one. Mine was 3 before I finally figured it out. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about rosemary. It is not a fussy plant. It's a tough little Mediterranean shrub that wants to live for 15 years and feed you the whole time. The folks who kill it aren't the lazy ones, they're the ones who love it too much. And the very first secret I'm about to give you is the one that saved every plant I've grown since. Secret number 1 costs you nothing. In fact, it saves you work, and it's the hardest one for people like us to swallow. We spent 50 years being told that a good gardener waters every day. Throw that out the window. Rosemary comes off dry, rocky hillsides where it barely rains all summer. It wants to dry all the way out between drinks. Back in '78, my very first rosemary, I watered it every morning like it was a tomato, and I drowned the poor thing. Rotted the roots clean off before I understood what I'd done. Now, the faceless how-to videos will all tell you rosemary is easy. What they won't tell you is that 9 times out of 10, a dead rosemary died of kindness, not neglect. So here's your rule, and it's the only watering rule you need. Push your finger 2 inches down into the soil. Bone dry, give it a good drink. Still damp? Walk away and don't think about it. For most of us, that's about once a week in the heat of summer, and almost never in winter. Picture next July, the whole neighborhood's out there dragging hoses around in the afternoon sun, and you're sitting on the porch with your coffee, because your rosemary doesn't need a thing from you. That's the free version, and it's also the best version. Do less, and the plant lives longer. Second secret, and this is the one that does the real heavy lifting. Drainage. A handful of grit and the right pot, and you've beaten the thing that kills more rosemary than every bug and every frost combined. Because rosemary will forgive you almost anything, except wet feet. If water can't run straight out the bottom, the roots sit in a cold puddle and rot. Same death as overwatering, just slower and sadder. So here's the fix, and it's about $2. Mix a scoop of coarse sand or fine gravel into your potting soil, and use a pot with real holes in the bottom, not one drilled hole, real drainage. That's it. That one move solves the single biggest killer there is. And here's where it gets good for a body that's earned a few aches. Grow it in a pot, and set that pot up on an old table, a garden bench, a couple of stacked blocks, up at waist height. Now you're snipping rosemary for supper without bending, without kneeling, and without having to figure out how to get back up off the ground afterward. Same plant, half the strain on you. The exact pot size and the soil mix I use. I wrote it all down in a little guide. Links in the description if you'd rather not guess your way through it. But listen, the best draining pot in the world won't save your rosemary the first real cold snap. Not unless you know the one move that carries it through winter alive instead of dead. That's coming up in secret 4, and it's the one most people get wrong. Third secret, and this one's completely free. It's just knowing where to look. Rosemary needs sun, 6 hours a day minimum. And the more you can give it, the better. Half-hearted sun gives you a thin, leggy, sad little plant that never amounts to much. Full sun gives you a thick, fragrant shrub you can cook out of all year long. Now here's a trick my grandfather used, and it doesn't cost a dime. Put the pot up against a south-facing wall. Brick, stone, the side of the house, doesn't matter. That wall soaks up heat all day and breathes it back out at night. And rosemary absolutely loves that warm back against the cold. You're not buying a single thing, you're just walking the pot over to the sunniest, most sheltered corner you've already got. Come next spring, you'll step outside and find the thing has doubled in size, and you'll wonder why you spent 30 years babying a plant that just wanted to be left alone. If your rosemary's still hanging on right now, do me a favor and type alive down below. Honestly, it helps the video more than you'd think, and I like knowing who's still in the fight. Fourth secret. This is the one that keeps your rosemary going year after year, instead of dying every winter and making you start all over. And here's the honest truth most videos skip right past. Plain rosemary is only reliably hardy in the milder zones, roughly zone 7 and warmer. If you get real winters where you are, a bare plant left out in the ground can die in a hard freeze. I won't lie to you about that. But you've got 2 easy ways around it, and neither one takes any strength. 1. Grow it in that pot we already talked about. And when the first frost threatens, carry it or slide it on a little wheeled base into a cool, bright spot inside. A garage window, an unheated porch, a cool spare room. Here's the part people get backwards. It does not want to be warm and cozy. It wants cool, bright, and barely any water, and it'll doze right through till spring. 2. If you'd rather leave it in the ground, plant a hardy variety. Look for the ones called ARP or Hill Hardy, bred to take a colder winter clear down to zone 6. That's it. No wrestling a shrub out of frozen ground. You plant the right one, or you roll the pot inside. Either way, you plant once, and that same shrub feeds you for 10 years. Last secret, and it's really 2 gifts wrapped in one. First, pruning. And there's a rule here you'll break exactly once before you learn it forever. Never cut down into the old, bare, woody stems. Rosemary will not grow back from bare wood. Once that lower wood is naked, it stays naked. So always cut up in the green, the soft new growth above the wood. Give it a light shaping right after it flowers, and it comes back fuller and bushier every single year. Now here's the gift. Every piece you snip off is a brand new plant, free if you want it. Strip the leaves off the bottom inch, stick the cutting in a glass of water, or straight down into damp, gritty soil. Keep it out of the blazing midday sun, and in a few weeks it roots. That's how you go from one plant to a whole waist-high row of them, without spending another dime. My daughter's kitchen window, my neighbor's front porch, the pot by my own back door, every one of them came off that first plant I very nearly gave up on. So that's the whole thing, 5 secrets. Stop drowning it, give it grit and sun, get it through winter in a pot, or plant the hardy kind, and cut it right. Do that, and you're not really gardening anymore. You're just walking out with your coffee and snipping supper off a shrub that's been alive longer than some marriages, for less work than a single Saturday back in the old garden. If you want the exact pots, the soil mix, and the hardy varieties all written down in one place, I put it in a small guide, links down in the description. Next time, I'll show you the one herb that's even tougher than rosemary, the one that spreads so fast you'll be handing it out to the neighbors, which matters a whole lot when bending down to plant, is the part that's gotten hard. Real gardening, for real bodies, for folks who've got no intention of quitting.